After the first coup and counter-coup between January 1966 to the end of June 1967, the nation went into socio-political quagmire and gradually plunged into a 30-month civil war from July 1st, 1967 to January 15th, 1970. Dr. Azikiwe did not entirely remain out of the country during this turbulent period of Nigeria's national life. He came back, and as a person who by origin belonged to the secessionist part of the country, the then Biafran enclave, he was there, but couldn't be comfortably accepted by the authorities of the Biafra in view of his uncooperative attitude to the secessionist struggle. He was even incarcerated before his escape to overseas. However, during his sojourn in the Biafran enclave, he made several attempts to bring the two warring sides, Biafra and the federal government of Nigeria, to a negotiation table to resolve the crisis for the continued existence of the amalgam of Nigeria. Senator Jim Nwobodo, a former governor in the Second Republic, was Azikiwe's political disciple.
He advised against the war. He advised thoroughly against the war. Secondly, he called Chukwu and told him that the only role he would play is to ensure that he brought him to the conference table. In other words, the only answer to this disagreement is dialogue. We must meet at the conference table. And he said that that he knew the way to do that, to talk to a few of his friends who were then presidents and heads of state, to give recognition to Biafra. And it is these people that will now ensure that Nigeria, at its Gawan, and the Ojukwu met at the conference table. So, Ojukwu said, fine, thank you very much, sir. I would appreciate it if you went on this trip to get us recognition. First he went to Ivory Coast and got Biafran recognition. He went to Gabon, got us recognition, and then went to Nyerere, Tanzania. I remember he addressed him as my dear Walimu, the address, and got us recognition. And then when he came back, he got these three recognitions. I think he tried to get one from Haiti. When he came back and then called you and said, look, I have gotten you these 4 recognitions or these 3 recognitions. And I've been assured by this people that they will bring you to the conference table with Ghana. And it is here at this conference table you must negotiate the conditions, negotiate peace, and ask for conditions that will ensure that the people are free. So the man said no, that he wouldn't agree, that the issue of Biafran sovereignty is non-negotiable.
Ultimately, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe waded into the crisis of the Nigerian civil war. He played a go-between role in the heart of the conflict between the General Gowon government and the secessionist side. He even launched an extensive campaign at war fronts to stop the carnage and for the two sides to return to the original fold of one Nigeria. Finally, the war came to an end on January 15, 1970, with the Biafran surrender. Zik, through that singular patriotic art of his to save his country from disintegration, once again proved his nationalistic nature and his commitment to the corporate existence of the great country Nigeria. When towards the end of the 13-year military rule after the demise of the First Republic, the then General Olusegun Obasanjo's government lifted the ban on politics in 1978. The old generation political elites came back to the scene once again. But Zik did not come back immediately. In fact, he was then enjoying a quiet life at home with his family, coping with advancing age. He was 74 then, reminiscence in a life well spent for the good of humanity and the fatherland Nigeria. Mrs. Uche Azikiwe.
After the war, he was reluctant to get into politics again until the NPP party came and dragged him or pulled him out. So he was 24 hours in the house before politics. That was 79. In short, it was a sort of role reversal. I am the one that goes out. I might travel to my hometown, Afikpo, or he will send me to Onitsha. He stays in the house 24 hours of the day. I now come back to meet him in the house.
And so, how did it happen? A beckon to serve the nation in politics again, and his response.
Argument was who would match Awu, Shagari, Waziri, and Etamino Kano. Who will match any of these three, of these four? And it happened that we were meeting my place, and I told them, look, there's only one man who can do it. And that we don't seem to have thought of him, and I believe that the only person who could do it was Zik. There and then, it was agreed unanimously that we would leave Lagos that morning to visit Enugu. Now, I think that based on the information we had, the NPN heard of this, and because they were far richer and better organized, they arranged a special flight, that flew to Nsukka ahead of us to interview Zik, requesting Zik to join the NPN as their patron. Well, just as they were leaving, we entered, and there and then requested Zik that rather than going to NPN as a patron, he should come to us to lead this party as a presidential candidate. And we stayed with him for almost 4 hours. We came at about 12, we left about 5. Longish time. And he didn't give us an answer that day, but said we should come the next day to get the answer. And the next day we went, and he accepted to lead the party. There and then I knew that his entering the party had made a difference for any of us who was interested in political positions in the East.
Alhaji Shehu Usman Aliyu Shagari, the presidential flag bearer of the MPN, National Party of Nigeria then, and subsequently the first executive president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria after the election of 1979 for the Second Republic, sees Zik's comeback this way.
People urged him, as you say, he was reluctant at first. They urged him to stand because of his stature, that they thought he had a chance to win. Unfortunately, he did not win. But he has always been very active in the affairs of the country, no matter what his position was, as a journalist, as the Member of Parliament, as Premier of the East, as President of the Senate, Governor General. In all these things, he played his part, and he's played them very well.
After the 1979 elections, which saw the NPN as the victorious party, but not strong enough to form the government, once again Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe's attitude of compromise saved the situation. History repeating itself, as in the First Republic, when his party, the NCNC, formed an alliance with the victorious NPC with similar handicap as the MPN in the Second Republic. So, the Zik's MPP came in handy to form alliance with the NPN to form the Second Republic government and to save the new-found democracy.
But actually, the intention of MPN was to form a national government. We had never thought of running a government just by ourselves. We wanted government of national unity. And that was even before, even in the First Republic. The Prime Minister wanted to have that kind of government. But the action group refused to join. So we had to contend with the other party, NCNC. The same thing with me. I invited all the parties which contested against us. In this case, 4 other parties. the MPP, UPN, GMPP, and PRP. All invited them to come and join my cabinet. Two of them agreed. The MPP and PRP, led by Aminu Kano. Then Waziri said he would only agree if UPN would come in along with him. And he promised to influence them to come along. In the end, he failed because they said they were going to join us only if we have to set aside our program and use the UPN program, which of course is a joke. So we refused. And that's why we had to do with the NPP alone. But our intention is to have all the parties. In the case of PRP, Aminu Kano was willing, but some of his lieutenants, like Remy and Valerek Musa, not have anything to do with that. So we had to drop the idea. So this is how it